Hi, this is Mrs. Robertson. It looks like we're recording already in this new system, and we're going to go over the answers to the quiz yesterday, and here we go. In problem number 1, Sophie can type 128 words in 3 minutes. How many minutes will it take her to type 576 words? Okay, answer the questions. It says be sure to show work and justify your thinking. On these problems, you can find unit rate. And then once you find your unit rate, you change it to whatever it needs to be, or you can do a proportion. I'm going to set this one up as a proportion. We are dealing with words and minutes. All right. So what's the first one? Ratio is 128 words in 3 minutes. How many minutes will it take her to type 576 words? Now we can do our cross products and then solve the problem. So what you're going to have here, 3 times 576 equals 128 times x. And then you're going to divide both sides by 128. And you're going to end up getting 135. When you multiply by 3, divide by 128, x equals 13.5. So it's going to take 13.5 minutes. Okay? Now, if you figured out in this problem, well, we're just going to keep it. This one really is the best way to do is the setting it up as a proportion. Number 2, I'm going to set it up as a proportion also. The pet border keeps a dog to cat ratio of 5:2. If the border has room for 98 animals, then how many of them can be dogs? Okay, so here it's a total and dogs. It doesn't matter if you put dogs on top and total on bottom, but it helps when you write those words out. So in the first one, dogs to cats, it's 5:2. But for total, it's going to be 5:7. Okay? 5 dogs to a total of 7 animals. Now in this shelter, you have 98 total. How many are dogs? I'm going to try to pause. All right, so we're going to continue to do our cross products. We're going to have 7 times x equals 5 times 98. Then you're going to divide both sides by 7. And when you do that, you end up with the answer of x equals 70. So it would be a total of 70 dogs. In question number 3, which set of ratios below is equivalent to 4:5? And that is B, 8:10 and 16:20, both simplify to 4:5. Convert each of the measurements below, set up a proportion if necessary. This one was just a little tricky because, I'll tell you more about it in a moment. The final thing is, what is Marco's height in centimeters? And it tells you there are 2.54 centimeters in an inch. So I'm going to set it up as centimeters to inches. All right. 6 feet, 3 inches equals 75 inches, right? That's what a lot of you forgot to do in problem number 4. That's a total of 75 inches. Okay, we don't know how many centimeters it is, but we do know that there are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. All right, now you can set it up that way, or in an earlier class, I put centimeters. 2.45 over 1 equals x over 75. Here, you'll still get the same answer if you set it up either way. So now we do our cross products, and you're going to take 75 times 2.54, and that actually equals 1 times x is x. And when you do that, you get 190.54 5 centimeters. On the test tomorrow, kids, I think the numbers are pretty friendly. I don't think that you'll need a calculator on the test because they're friendlier numbers than what some of these were on the quiz. In problem number 5, the distance between the school and the park is 6 kilometers. There are 1.6 kilometers in 1 mile. How many miles apart are the school and park? Well, we're comparing kilometers and miles. I'm going to set up my proportion. I know that 1.6 kilometers is the same thing as 1 mile. Therefore, 6 kilometers equals how many miles? We have our proportion. We do our cross products. 1 times 6 is 6. That equals 1.6 times x. Divide both sides by 1.6. And you will end up with 3.75 miles equals x. So 3.75 miles. Any questions? Okay, let's go on to the next page. The answer to number 6 is B, Noah and Leon. Number 7, we have accepts and applicants. I will just, here we have it here. So we have people that accept over applicants. 6 people are accepted out of every 100 that are submitted. So how many are accepted out of 850? You do your cross products, divide by 100, and the answer is 51 are accepted. In number 8, you have 19 engineering students for every 81 students enrolled. If the college has 750 students, approximately how many are engineering students? Well, you set up your proportion, cross products, 81x equals 19 times 750. Divide both sides by 81, and your answer will be 175.9, which is closest to A, 176. Question number 9. It says Deshaun pays $18 for 12 pounds of sugar. Some of you did this one backwards. What is the price per pound of sugar? Okay, some of you found the unit rate, but you did it backwards. You did 12 divided by 816. Jackson, I think that's one of them that you missed. I remember correcting it for you, so just pay attention to this one. You could do this, as I said, finding the unit rate, where you would divide 816 by 12, and that will tell you how much it is for 1 pound of sugar. Or you can just set it up as a proportion, money over pounds, and we want to know how much it is for 1 pound. Cross products, divide, and you get 68 cents. As I said, some of you were trying to find the unit rate and it messed you up. If you get confused which number you're to divide, do a proportion. Then you're for sure going to get it right. Okay, the proportion helps guide you when you have your labels. Miles per minute. This was another tricky one. Here it says on a family trip, Mr. Peters travels 130 miles in 2 hours. At this rate, how many miles will he travel in 30 minutes? Okay, one way to do this problem is say, well, 130 divided by 2 will be 65 miles in an hour. Isn't that right? 65, yeah. And then half of 65 will give you the answer, which is 32.5 miles. Okay, that's one way. Another way, and this way works for all of them, if you sometimes get confused what you're doing, just always do the proportions. Miles over minutes. The only tricky thing is you had to change 2 hours to 120 minutes. See what I did there? So then you cross multiply and divide. You get 32.5 miles. Any questions? All right. Then on the back side, in this problem, it says the table below shows the number of apples per basket in a farmer's market or at a farmer's market. Graph the data, then find the slope of the line. Okay, so here you graphed it 2, 10, 4, 20, 6, 30, 8, 40. We graphed it. The slope. Well, choose 2 points. I'm going to choose this one and this one. My rise is 10. Rise over run is slope. Okay? My rise is 10. My run to that point is 2. Now, 10 over 2, you should simplify that to 5 over 1. Your slope is 5. On your test, if it's multiple choice, they're not going to have 10 over 2 as your choice. They'll have 5 or 5 over 1. Okay? Just telling you what the test will look like. What does that mean? Explain what the slope represents. It represents how many apples are in a basket. The rise tells you how many apples. The run will tell you how many are in how many baskets for that many apples. Okay, number 12 was hard for me to look at and see. At first, I thought the first dot was on the 50, and it's really on the 60. Okay, 1 is 60, 2 would be 120, and so on. So if you were doing the slope again is rise over run. I would say you would put 60. If I use this one, I go up. That's 60 over a run of 1, and the slope is 60 over 1. Some of you, though, myself included, thought it was a 50 over 1, so I would count 60 over 1 or 50 over 1. That one was just sort of a messy problem. Definition of slope, they like to use rise over run. Okay? And then everyone did a really nice job on this. Undefined, negative, positive, and zero slope. Any questions? All right.